It was just after 2 p.m., the sun still high, the street empty, and the world completely normal, until Sarah realized she was hearing footsteps perfectly matching her own. The day was ordinary, the kind of day you never expect anything bad to happen. It was 2:17 p.m., and Sarah walked home from school alone, the shortcut through the quiet residential street. The sun baked the road, and even the shadows looked lazy. Her backpack was heavy. Her shoes scraped against the pavement. Then came another sound, footsteps, soft at first, then clearer, syncing perfectly with hers. She stopped. The sound stopped too. Sarah turned. No one. Just a long, empty road lined with still houses, closed windows, and the distant hum of an air conditioner. She smiled nervously and started walking again, faster this time. The other footsteps followed again, perfectly timed. Maybe someone's just behind me, she whispered, not wanting to seem scared. She turned around again, nothing. Then she noticed something strange. Every time she passed under a tree's shadow, the sound of the footsteps got louder, like whoever was following her only existed in the shade. She tested it. She stopped in the bright sunlight. Silence. She stepped into the next patch of shadow. Tap. Tap, tap. Her heart skipped. She ran forward into the next sunlight gap, her breath sharp, her backpack bouncing. But as she moved, the shadows stretched longer, swallowing the road ahead. The sun was still up, but somehow the street looked darker. The houses seemed empty, the air thicker, and when she turned the next corner, there was a figure standing right in the middle of the street. Still. Completely still. It looked like a man, but wrong somehow. His outline shimmered, like heat distortion, and even though the sun was burning bright, no shadow fell beneath him. Sarah froze. The figure tilted its head slowly, like it was listening to her heartbeat. Then, it moved. Not walking, gliding straight into the next shadow patch, and vanished. Sarah screamed and dropped her bag. But before she could run, the echo of footsteps came again. Only this time, they weren't behind her. They were right next to her ear. The next day felt just as ordinary. The same sun, the same quiet road, the same 2 p.m. walk home from school. But Sarah couldn't stop thinking about yesterday, about those footsteps that didn't belong to her. She told herself it was her imagination, maybe an echo, or her own heartbeat matching the sound. Still, she found herself checking over her shoulder every few minutes. Nothing. The street stretched ahead, still empty. Only this time, she noticed something strange. A new road. She could have sworn that between the grocery store and the park, there was always a row of old houses. But today, there was a narrow lane, one she'd never seen before. No street sign, just a small cracked road bending left, hidden behind 2 leaning telephone poles. She stopped at the corner and stared. It shouldn't have been there. The sun still burned overhead, but the lane was oddly dim, as if the light didn't touch it properly. Her heartbeat quickened. Then, just faintly, she heard it again. Footsteps. But this time, they were coming from that lane. Curiosity pushed her a step forward. Her mother's voice echoed in her head. Don't wander off on your way home. But something about that lane pulled her closer. A cold gust of air rushed out, as if the road itself exhaled. The air smelled like rain and rust, like an old basement left open too long. Sarah peered down the street. The houses were strange. Too narrow, too tall. Each window was covered with a dark cloth that moved slightly, even though there was no wind. A mailbox stood in front of one, its door creaking open and shut, over and over, like a slow heartbeat. She turned around, ready to leave, and froze. The main road behind her was gone. No cars, no sound, no sunlight. The world had changed without her noticing. Now everything was tinted in a pale, blue-gray light, as if she'd stepped into a photograph that never ended. Sarah ran back toward where she came from, but the farther she ran, the longer the road stretched. Every corner she passed led her back to the same house, the one with the red curtains in the upper window, and behind those curtains, a silhouette moved slowly, deliberately. It looked like someone watching her, or something pretending to. She took out her phone. No signal. The time still said 2:17 p.m. It hadn't moved since she entered. That's when she heard the voice, faint, right behind her ear, a whisper that made her skin crawl. "You walked into the wrong street, Sarah." She turned, no one there. But on the road now, written in faint chalk, were words she didn't recognize. Not English, not any language she knew. And as she stared at them, they began to move, each letter twisting, reshaping, until they formed her own name. Sarah. Her breath caught. The chalk shimmered, and the ground beneath her shifted slightly, like it was breathing. She stumbled backward, only to crash into something solid. Someone was standing right behind her, a tall figure, wearing her school uniform. Her voice trembled. "Who are you?" The figure smiled, the same way she smiled. "I'm the one who didn't make it home yesterday." Then the sunlight blinked out. Everything fell silent, except for the soft, rhythmic sound of two sets of footsteps walking in sync, one leading, one following. And when the light returned, the street was empty again. Only Sarah's school bag lay in the middle of the road. The name stitched on it had faded, replaced by one single word, "Welcome." When Sarah opened her eyes, she was lying on her bed. Her uniform was neatly folded on the chair. The window was open, letting in the warm afternoon air. For a moment, she thought she had just fainted. Maybe she'd imagined everything. The strange street, the figure, the chalk, the voice. It had to be a dream. Then she noticed something that made her stomach tighten. Her school bag was on the floor, ripped open. The name tag, the one her mother sewed on, was gone. Not torn, not scratched. Gone. The fabric was smooth, as if nothing had ever been written there. She walked downstairs. The smell of food filled the kitchen. Her mom was there, humming softly while cooking. "Mom," she called. Her mother turned and froze. The spatula slipped from her hand. "Sarah." Her voice trembled slightly. Where did you come from?" Sarah frowned. "What do you mean? From school?" Her mom's face went pale. "You came home hours ago." Sarah blinked. "No, I didn't." But her mom wasn't listening. She was staring past her, toward the staircase. Sarah turned and saw herself. The girl on the stairs looked exactly like her. Same clothes, same expression, same slight cut on the left wrist from art class last week. For a few seconds, neither of them spoke. Then the other one smiled perfectly calm. "Mom, don't be scared," she said sweetly. "She's just confused." Sarah's heart pounded. Her voice shook. "That's not me." Her mother's hands trembled as she reached for the counter, eyes darting between the two of them. The air in the kitchen grew colder, heavier, like the light itself was dimming even though it was still day. Sarah stepped forward. "Mom, listen." Yesterday her interrupted. "Mom, don't listen. She followed me home from that street." Her mother screamed. The window shattered as if the sound broke the air itself. For a split second, Sarah saw the reflection in the shards. Two girls, one shadow darker than the other, and the darker one was smiling. Her father came rushing in. "What's happening?" He stopped mid-step when he saw both Sarahs. The color drained from his face. Then, without saying a word, he grabbed his wife and pulled her toward the door. The other Sarah turned to him and said softly, "Why are you running from your daughter?" The door wouldn't open. The handle shook violently, locked from the outside. Sarah's father shouted for help. No sound came. He looked out the window and saw their house across the street. Through its window, he could see himself, sitting at the table, eating dinner, smiling calmly. Sarah backed away, breathing fast. "What are you?" she whispered to her double. The other one tilted her head. "I'm the one who made it out. You were supposed to stay there." Her voice was cold, wrong, like it came from two throats speaking together. "Stay where?" Sarah asked, trembling. The girl smiled wider. Where the streets don't end. Where your name is still written on the road. The real Sarah screamed and lunged forward, but her hand passed through the other girl, as if through mist. The lights flickered. For a heartbeat, she saw the walls of her house melting into the pale blue-gray of that endless road, and standing in every doorway were more of her. Dozens, all smiling, all whispering in the same voice. You should have never walked alone. The room went white. When her parents opened their eyes, they were sitting at the dinner table again. Only one Sarah stood in front of them, calm, composed, smiling. Everything's fine, she said softly. Her voice was warm again, gentle. Her parents looked at each other, confused but relieved. Just a bad dream, her father muttered. Sarah smiled wider. Outside, the street was quiet again, glowing softly in the afternoon light, and just at the edge of the sidewalk, the shadow of another girl stood watching, lips moving silently. Her whisper drifted on the warm air. You made it home, but for the next few days, the house was quiet. Too quiet. The air inside felt heavier, like the walls were holding their breath. Sarah's parents told themselves everything was fine. Kids have bad days, stress, hallucinations. It's easier to believe that than to face what they couldn't explain. But small things started to change. The real Sarah's room, or the room that used to be hers, wasn't the same anymore. The posters she loved were gone, replaced with older ones she'd never owned. The books on her shelf were neat, too neat, organized by titles she'd never read. Even the handwriting on her school notes looked different, sharper, colder, like someone was trying to be her, but didn't quite remember how. At breakfast, her mother watched her daughter spreading jam on toast. The girl's movements were perfect, same posture, same quiet smile, but when her mother looked closer, she saw it. The reflection in the butter knife. The girl in the reflection wasn't smiling. She was staring back, eyes pitch black, lips unmoving, even as the real one giggled softly at a joke. The mother dropped the knife. The girl looked up. Everything okay, Mom? Her voice was soft, kind, but the sound carried an echo faint, delayed, like it came from somewhere else. That night, Sarah's father couldn't sleep. He kept hearing faint footsteps upstairs. He went to check. The hallway lights flickered dim, then bright, then dim again. He stopped outside Sarah's room. The door was half open. Inside, she was standing in front of the mirror, completely still. Her reflection didn't move. He opened the door fully. Sarah, her head snapped toward him too fast, like her neck didn't have bones. He stepped back. Sweetheart, are you okay? The reflection behind her tilted its head in the opposite direction. He stared, frozen. The two of them, her and her reflection, whispered something together, a language that didn't belong in any world. Then both went silent. She smiled. Good night, Dad. He shut the door, his hand shaking. The next morning, he tried to tell his wife, but she was already sitting at the table, pale and shaking. She looked up at him, tears in her eyes. She asked me to make pancakes, she whispered. That's fine, he said, confused. She said, her voice cracked. She said she remembers eating them before she died. That evening, they searched through old photos, desperate for answers. Every picture of Sarah from her first birthday to her last school trip looked normal until the last one, taken a week ago. Sarah, standing in front of her school gate, except now, behind her, barely visible in the light, was another figure. Same uniform, same face, smiling directly at the camera. Her mother screamed and dropped the photo. When it hit the table, the picture changed. The second figure wasn't in the background anymore. She was standing in front of Sarah, and Sarah's eyes were gone. The lights in the house flickered again. Every clock stopped at 2:17 p.m., and from upstairs, a familiar voice called out, cheerful, distant, echoing down the hall. Mom, Dad, dinner's ready. The smell of pancakes filled the air. They looked at each other. Neither moved. Then, from the reflection in the TV screen, they saw her, standing right behind them, smiling that same too-perfect smile. "Don't keep me waiting," she whispered. Her voice was calm, warm, but her shadow on the wall didn't move when she did. Outside, the neighborhood looked peaceful again. The sun still shone. Children played down the street. But if anyone walked past that house and listened closely, they could still hear faint echoes of laughter and the quiet sound of two sets of footsteps moving perfectly in sync, one leading, one following. And in the reflection of the window, for just a split second, there were still two Sarahs. The house felt wrong. Too bright, too quiet. Sarah's mother sat in the living room, her eyes fixed on the window. The world outside looked perfectly normal. Kids biking, neighbors mowing their lawns, the golden light of late afternoon spilling in. But she hadn't seen the sun move in hours. It was still 2:17 p.m. Upstairs, Sarah hummed softly, the same tune her mother used to sing while making breakfast, the same tune the real Sarah never liked. She stood in front of the mirror again, brushing her hair. Every stroke was slow, careful, almost rehearsed. The mirror's surface shimmered faintly, like ripples on water, and behind the reflection, faint outlines of others appeared, dozens of Sarahs, standing in silence, all staring back. One of them pressed a hand against the glass. A whisper escaped, "Let me out." The girl in the room smiled, brushing her hair again. "You had your turn." Downstairs, her father checked the clock again. Still 2:17. He sighed, rubbing his temples. Then he noticed something small, the family photo on the wall. He froze in the picture. He and his wife stood with their daughter, but this time, the daughter wasn't smiling. Her eyes were open too wide, and behind her, barely visible, was another face, the same face. Closer, watching. The phone rang suddenly, slicing through the silence. Her mother jumped and grabbed it. "Hello." Static. Then a voice, faint, broken, but familiar. "Mom." She froze. "Sarah." The voice came again, weaker this time. "Mom, please don't let her see me. I'm still here." Her hands trembled. "Where are you?" The line crackled, behind the glass. And then, a scream. Not loud, not human, like the sound of something breaking inside the line itself. She dropped the phone. It hit the floor and kept ringing, each ring deeper, slower, echoing through the walls. Upstairs, the humming stopped. Footsteps began descending the stairs, calm, deliberate. The girl appeared, holding her mother's broken phone cord in her hand. "It's rude to interrupt," she said softly. Her smile was gentle. Her shadow behind her twitched, like it wanted to move on its own. Her mother's voice shook. "Who are you?" The girl tilted her head. "You already know. You just don't remember letting me in." She reached out, her fingers brushing the edge of the table, and every clock in the house reversed. Tick, dash, tick, dash, backward. The walls flickered. For a moment, her parents saw flashes, their house overlaying another, older, cracked. The same furniture, covered in dust and cobwebs, a decayed version of their world, and in every mirror, Sarah was standing, but none of them were the one in the room. Her mother screamed and ran for the front door. It opened this time. She stumbled outside into bright sunlight, only to find the same house across the street. Same broken window, same flickering lights inside, and through its window, she saw herself, standing next to a smiling Sarah, waving slowly. The air rippled like heat haze. The real street faded, replaced by that endless pale blue road, the one that shouldn't exist. Inside the house, the girl placed her hand gently on the mirror, her reflection pressed back. They both whispered together, "It's always 2:17 somewhere." And the glass shattered, not outward, but inward, like it swallowed her whole. The room fell silent. Only the mirror remained, smooth again. On its surface, faint letters glowed before fading away. Welcome home. That evening, when the neighbors walked by, the house looked peaceful again. Curtains drawn, lights warm. Through the window, they could see a girl sitting with her parents, smiling, eating dinner. Perfectly normal, perfectly calm. But if you looked close, too close, the reflection in the glass didn't match. Because in the reflection, no one was smiling. Asterisk. No one was smiling. Asterisk. Hey, don't forget to check out the story in the Ikeda above. It's a really creepy, realistic one you don't want to miss. Asterisk. Don't look at the window after 3 a.m. End screen teaser. Soft static fades. Then a low whisper. They said the shadows only move after 3 a.m. But what if the one outside your window never stopped watching? Beat of silence. Don't look. Just don't. Text fades in. Gives watch. Don't look at the window after 3 a.m. next. If you dare. Asterisk. The day refused to end. It was still 2:17 p.m. The sunlight outside looked frozen, golden and heavy, like honey stuck midair. Even the shadows on the wall hadn't moved. Sarah's mother noticed it first. She had been stirring tea for 10 minutes, except the steam never rose. The spoon just kept circling. The tea stayed perfectly still. From upstairs came that same gentle humming. Sarah's voice, soft, melodic, wrong dot when she climbed the stairs. Every step made a hollow, delayed echo, as if the house were waiting to repeat the sound after she passed. Sarah's door was slightly open. Inside, the girl sat before the mirror, brushing her hair. Her reflection didn't follow. It was brushing its hair. A second behind. The mother froze. A faint static hum filled the air, like an old TV somewhere just beyond hearing. "Sarah," she whispered. The reflection looked up, but the real Sarah didn't. Her daughter's voice came out slow and gentle. "Why do you always look scared when you see me?" Her tone was wrong to calm. The girl in the reflection smiled first. Then, the real one copied it. 1 second late. I'm just tired, sweetheart," her mother said, stepping back. "You've been acting strange since yesterday." Sarah kept brushing her hair. "I told you, it wasn't me yesterday." Downstairs, her father sat staring at the photo wall. Something in the family picture had changed again. This time, Sarah's reflection in the photo had her back turned, and behind that reflection, in the glass frame, a faint outline of a hand pressed outward. Tap, 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 tap. Each tap made the lights flicker. Each flicker made the second hand on the clock skip backward. The landline rang suddenly, making them both jump. Her mother rushed to answer it. "Hello," a voice whispered, fractured through static. "Mom?" She went pale. "Sarah." "Mom, don't let her see you talking to me," the voice said quickly. "I'm still in the mirror." Her mother's eyes widened. "What do you mean you're in the mirror?" "She's pretending to be me." Don't look directly at her reflection. She sees through it. Before the mother could respond, the phone cracked. Not just the plastic, but the sound itself, a piercing distortion, like glass breaking underwater. The line went dead, and from upstairs came Sarah's voice again, calm and close. "Who were you talking to?" The mother looked up the staircase. The girl was already there, smiling. Her shadow behind her stretched longer than it should, like it wanted to crawl toward her parents. Her father rose shakily. "Sarah, what's happening to you?" The girl tilted her head. "Nothing's happening. We're just staying together. Forever." The reflection on the TV screen beside them blinked, but no one in the room had. Then everything began to move backward. The clock reversed. The spoon in the teacup began to spin the other way. Even their own breath missed it in reverse, air being pulled back into their lungs. The sunlight outside turned pale and cold. Through the window, the street-twisted houses melting into their mirror versions. Upside-down trees growing into the sky. And in every reflective surface, the mirror, the window, the picture frames, dozens of Sarahs stared back, all smiling, all whispering in unison. "It's always 2:17 somewhere." The mother screamed and bolted for the front door. It opened this time, sunlight pouring in. But outside, the street was wrong. The same houses, repeated endlessly, each one slightly different, and across the road, through a window, she saw herself sitting calmly at the dining table, holding a cup of tea. That version of her looked up and smiled softly, then whispered something she couldn't hear. The real mother turned to look behind and saw Sarah standing at the door, eyes pure white, her voice layered, one human, one whisper, one echo. "Mom, you looked away too long." The walls flickered like film burning in a projector. The world folded inward, the reflection becoming real, the real turning hollow. The mirror world was taking its place. Everything glowed, pulsed, and then silence. Later that evening, neighbors walked by. The house looked peaceful again, curtains closed, lights warm. Through the window, they could see a family having dinner, a girl, her mother, and father, laughing quietly. But if you looked too closely, their eyes didn't blink, their reflections didn't match, and on the glass pane, faint letters appeared, scratched from the inside. "Welcome home, asterisk, before you go." Make sure to check out the story linked in the A card above. It's one of the most chilling and realistic ones we've ever told. End. Shadows never sleep. Walking alone from school, final chapter asterisk. We can't open the door. After 9 p.m. End. Screen teaser sound of a slow knock. Every night at 9 p.m., someone knocks. We never open the door. Knock echoes again, closer this time, but last night, it knocked from inside. Static swell, whisper, gives open the next story. We can't open the door after 9 p.m. Open the door after 9 p.m.